Things are looking good for Dan Mullen and UNLV football, sitting at 3-0. Coming off a bye week, the Rebels look to take down Miami of Ohio next weekend. What do we think about Calandria and the quarterback play? Will this team miss Alex Orji? And are the guys a true college football playoff threat? All that and so much more coming up right now on Sin City Beat.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello there and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sin City Beat. I'm Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. This time we're breaking down all things UNLV on the program as they sit at 3-0 after a bye week. Now joining the action today, we have Ray Brewer, managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun, Paloma Villicana, sports reporter and anchor here at Fox 5 Las Vegas and host of the Rebs Zone with Dan Mullen, and of course, Charles "Chuck" Wagon Williams, former star running back with the UNLV Rebels. So thanks so much for being here,
Ray,
guys.
we love you too.
I mean, he gets a woohoo and I get nothing.
As your mother says, Ray, everybody loves Raymond. But let's do this. Let's start with this. Dan Mullen has the Rebels undefeated at 3-0. After a bye, the guys are set to face Miami of Ohio on the road this weekend. After that, the team enters Mountain West Conference play. So Ray Brewer, does this team have what it takes to make college football playoff run, and are they legit?
If they go undefeated and win the Mountain West, they'll be the 12th team in the college football playoff. And that's not a far-fetched thing, because they've beat UCLA, which was supposed to be the big hurdle in the season. They're 3-0. They're going into Miami this weekend of Ohio, and they're expected to win. And all you got to do now is run the table in the Mountain West, which isn't murderer's row this year because Boise State's not as good as they were last year. Colorado State's not as good. San Jose State's not as good. Sure, there's tough spots on the road. It's never easy to win in high elevation when they go to Wyoming later this month, but they got live action, which is more than you could say for them even going to a bowl game when maybe somebody played for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I always struggle in high elevation. This studio is on the second level here of the Studio B here at Fox 5. But, you know, Chuck, let's talk about this, because I think my producer James has a very valid question. He wants to know, yes, even though they're 3-0, they're sitting pretty, is the 3-0 record a little fraudulent? I think you can answer that for us.
I wouldn't say that because it's a brand new team. Two starters on both sides of the ball came back last year with Jaden Thomas and then Marcel Duffy. The biggest thing with me is that the team is gelling, building chemistry, and they're getting better each game. You see it, but it's more, you know, as time goes along, like how do they play their opponents? Are they going to look at the name and the record, or are they just going to go out there and play their own style of ball? And then the biggest thing is Coach Mullen is, you know, getting these guys together and, you know, sharing his experiences, you know, at every level, every conference he's been at. So I think they'll be, you know, more than prepared.
So the follow-up there is, of course, Dan Mullen bringing that SEC pedigree from Mississippi State, Florida Gators. What is the identity of this football team in your estimation, Chuck?
It's a young team that's trying to figure out, you know, what they can do offensively. I think they're a balanced team. They run the ball very well and they throw it very well. It's more of, you know, what's, you know, going best for you at the moment. And then on defense, they fly around. They got ball hawks on the back end. You know, UNLV's really never really had that at a consistent level. And then on top of that, you know, the D-line's creating pressure. So I think the team, as far as, you know, defense, they're going to be good. And in the offense, they're just trying to figure their way out by, you know, their opponent.
Okay, so it's a balanced team. Paloma, temperature-wise, tell us what's going on. Is this team, the locker room, Dan Mullen himself, are they feeling super confident and proud about this record, or do they feel like there's a lot of meat left on the bone?
I think Dan Mullen's always a positive guy. Of course, I host the Rebs Zone with him, so I tend to have a positive outlook for UNLV. But with Chuck on the Rebs Zone last night, we took a look back at their 3 wins. Shaky start for UNLV out the gate against Idaho State. I think Chuck even mentioned the Rebels have been playing down to their competition as well against Idaho State, Sam Houston, even UCLA, who looks bad this year, obviously, with Deshaun Foster. And just, you know, the penalties have killed them, you know, have slowed them down this year too. So definitely a lot to clean up during the bye week, injuries, getting healthy and ready to roll for a big matchup on Saturday on the road. 9 a.m. kickoff, noon on the road in Ohio. But we talk about the identity of this team. Like Chuck and Ray mentioned, brand new team, brand new coaching staff, still trying to gel and get together. We've seen a lot of confidence from Anthony Calandria, but still a lot of question marks on both sides of the ball.
That's a great point you bring up, Paloma, and we got about a minute left here. I want to ask you one more question, Chuck, because I think a lot of times as a former player, you can give us some insight on this. People sometimes lower their level of play dependent on who their opponent is.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm in an intellectual discourse with Ray Brewer, I have to raise my game because it's Raymond Brewer.
Thank God you went that way. But
If I'm at just, a Roberto's talking some, Joe Schmo, I might stoop down to the competition. So my question is, do you think a lot of what we're seeing here, maybe not displaying that offensive prowess, is it because we're stooping to our competition a little bit and we need the challenge of a better team to face? What do you think about that as a former player?
I wouldn't even think that. It's just a lot of kids coming from different, schools and stuff like that. So they have different expectations. If they see Wyoming, they're like, okay, I played against Arkansas, I played against Ole Miss, Alabama, like Wyoming's nobody. So it's like the kids understanding, the history, the culture of UNLV, like what it took to beat a Wyoming in 2016 with Josh Allen. Like it took a lot of, willpower and a lot of, offensive, firepower just to go toe to toe with Josh Allen. So stuff like that. It's just, as a team, hey, what's the goal? We got to win. But how are we going to win? Are we going to dominate? Or are we just going to, make it and just go through the motions and try to, hope everything goes in our favor? You got to, come out and think you dominate every team if you want to go to the college football playoff, in my opinion.
Well, there you go. A win is always a win. Now, up next, we're talking quarterback play. Calandria looks good, and now Alex Orji is done for the year. A complete breakdown on the state of the position for the Rebs.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
Welcome back to Sin City Beat. So a big reason for the Rebels' undefeated season thus far is thanks to quarterback Anthony Calandria. The transfer from UVA is playing well this season. In 3 games, he has over 600 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. Now his QB counterpart, Alex Orji, a transfer from Michigan, is now out for the year after an LCL strain and a hamstring injury that's so severe, his hamstring detached from his femur. Very crazy stuff. So Chuck, what will this team miss from not having Orji for the rest of the season?
Well, just talked about it right now. When Dan Mullen had Tim Tebow and Cam Newton on the same team, I see Orji playing that Cam Newton role. Big body, can get the first downs, with his legs, but then he also is a threat with his arm too. So it's a little bit of a mix-up. But with Calandria, he's doing a good job of, having his own little run game and stuff like that too. Very slippery in the open field. He makes good decisions. He makes defenders miss or fall. I've seen it against Idaho State. He made the kid fall so bad. Nobody recognized it, but I did. But, those two were pushing each other to be competitive, and that was keeping the offense on their toes because you don't know who's in the game. So now with Calandria, being the only quarterback in there, Cam Frill's going to have to stay ready just in case.
Ray, your take on Calandria, his play so far. You're definitely a guy who critiques the quarterback position. We've seen it with the Raiders. We've seen it throughout the NFL. You're a big proponent of just critiquing that position as it is the most important position in all of sports. What's your take right now on Calandria and how he's played?
So back-to-back Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week awards. And he's great because of that ability to run and that ability to pass. Not in love with the ability to pass. I think he takes some chances that kind of makes your heart drop a little bit, and high risk, maybe low reward. And the good thing is that the way the schedule's worked out, he's able to get some confidence, Mike, as we move into the heart of the league season, right? Idaho State, you got challenged, right? So you were able to excel there. Tough, weather in Houston, very humid, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
And then UCLA, a big name opponent with some good talent. So he keeps getting better and better. I think with Orji out, that solidifies that he's going to get a lot of action. It also solidifies that offensive line needs to get up and run. And because there was a few plays against Idaho State where it was a fire drill. There was a few plays in each game, I guess, where it was a fire drill. And if that line could give him some time, and if the run game could continue to, chalk up yards, then I think he's going to be a better quarterback. If you say, hey, Anthony, you gotta win 12 games for us. Go throw the ball into triple coverage and let's see what happens. Probably a bad scenario.
So Paloma, your take on this, do you think that Calandria is going to be a little bit more solidified and confident in his approach moving forward now that he knows the position is his? Alex Orji's not, behind him in the shadows, kind of potentially taking that opportunity. What's your take on that?
I think it's been iron sharpening iron in that quarterback room. You have
Really?
Alex Orji, who won a national championship at Michigan. You have that football IQ that he brings to UNLV. And then Calandria has experience of starting in the ACC. So he's been against really tough matchups played in the ACC. So he has that experience under his belt. But what I'm seeing from Calandria is all the weapons he has around him. He has receivers, he has tight ends, he has running backs. You mentioned the O-line gelling and getting more comfortable together. I think he's only going to get better each week. And what I've seen from day one since spring ball is his confidence, his energy, his flow, even though there was a quarterback competition, didn't really look like it through the fall, the way he was so poised and confident in the pocket. And like we've mentioned, he's flexed that he's a dual threat quarterback. So really excited to see him continue to grow. And I don't know. I think he might be the best quarterback in the Mountain West this season. So.
Yeah, it could be very much true. And Chuck, do you think in terms of Calandria and his status of where he ranks in terms of UNLV quarterbacks of recent memory, where do you think his talent kind of lies?
Let me think. He has so many quarterbacks coming in and out.
6 years of playing at UNLV.
He's scrolling through the
playbook. He's definitely up there as far as like right now how he's playing. He's definitely up there with his stats and stuff. But if he goes on a deep playoff run, he'll probably put himself, in that top 10, in my opinion.
Are you more confident, Chuck? Sorry to take your job.
No, it's okay. Listen.
Are you more confident with him under center or Taj Malik from last year? Who
That's
was
a good
well, thank you.
Yeah.
He was a good runner, but maybe
Ray's
not
trying
as
to
good
take
as
my
we
job
got,
now.
not as good of a passer.
we have a sample size of Calandria right now,
agree.
so we can't. We got Costco right now. Getting a little sample.
Okay.
We can't do too much.
Hopefully not on a Saturday.
like,
because
this
those
tastes
start
good.
driving
Because
crazy.
it's like you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. So let's just see how it keeps going.
I agree.
Because
I'm one of those people that I'll go around Costco and try to get as many samples as possible. I'll wear different hats. I'll bring 2 or 3 different hats into Costco
I'm gonna just tell
so I
them
can
straight
get
up.
a multiple.
Yeah.
you
Hey,
know.
it's me again. Hey, I'm thinking about buying it, but I got to try it one more time.
There you go. It's that signature Kirkland style.
Exactly.
That's an
Oh,
inside
man.
joke for some people. Paloma laugh. All right, here we go. There was a big bout this past weekend in Sin City. If you were like me, you tuned in to Canelo versus Crawford on Netflix, but not Dan Mullen and the team. More on that after these words. So much going on here at Sin City Beat. Saturday night, Canelo and Crawford collided at Allegiant Stadium. The Netflix event, coined the fight of the century, took not only a lot of planning, but a $1.75 million payment to the UNLV Rebels football team to get them to move their game and to create space for the event. Now, Dan Mullen posted a photo of the fight to his X account. I thought it was fake at first, but he did post a picture with a caption that reads, quote, "This is NIL at UNLV." You see it right there. Paloma, fill us in on all the details. How Coach Mullen and the team actually took in this fight on Saturday. Break it down.
I think Coach Mullen is doing a great job of embracing the city of Las Vegas, talking to donors, talking to everyone in this town that has money, getting NIL to UNLV, because not only did I see the football team there, but the Lady Rebels, volleyball players. I mean, it looked like several teams were at this game, were at this fight, which was just awesome to see. I mean, you don't get this type of experience anywhere else.
Yeah.
So UNLV, I think Dan Mullen's doing a really great job of embracing the city, creating more NIL money. Josh Pastner is also doing the same with
shout
the
out
Running
to
Rebels.
Coach Pastner. Love that guy. One of my heroes. Paloma, let me ask you this, just as a follow-up. You worked closely with Barry Odom for the Rebs Zone.
Yeah, that's right.
You're working close with Dan Mullen right now. How the acumen that this guy demonstrates and displays when it comes to selling and NIL and constantly recruiting. That was one of the narratives underneath the post or when people were reposting that X.
Yeah.
picture from the fight. It's like, this dude, it's 3-0, it's midseason.
Yeah.
He's still recruiting during the season. What's your take on him as a recruiter? Because I think a lot of people think college football has transitioned with NIL. It's a little different, but he's still a big-time recruiter, and he's constantly working.
Well, here's the advantage that Dan Mullen and UNLV has. They have Allegiant Stadium, the best college venue in all of America, and Allegiant Stadium hosts events like this. The fights, NFL, concerts, you name it, is here in Las Vegas. You don't get that anywhere else in the country. Yes, the Power 4 programs, they're college towns and all of that, but look at what Las Vegas has to offer. You talk about Barry Odom, he did a great job of, really putting UNLV in the community, going to every high school out here, and Dan Mullen has raised the bar of going to every restaurant, meeting with every donor, going to play golf with everyone, making sure that everyone is buying into UNLV. And you're seeing kids from Georgia and Florida and the East Coast come play for Dan Mullen at UNLV, and that says a lot.
Chuck, I mean, as a former player, you did miss, a little bit of that action of the state of current college football.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if, thinking as a former player, former athlete, do you think this stuff matters to these guys? Having those opportunities, having those facilities, being able to just be able to take in a Canelo versus Crawford, the fight of the century, fight in person. Do those things matter? And how do you think these current athletes today look at this stuff?
Yes, because one, the facilities and everything was the beginning of it. But like now it's an attraction, it's a market. Kids feel like they can market themselves. And then another thing is like if you're winning, it's like, okay, now I'm winning and I can market myself. It's like a double win. But then on top of that, like you get experiences, you meet people that, have connections, very deep connections, like throughout Las Vegas and more outside of Las Vegas. So the biggest thing is coming out here and trying to make yourself the best marketed person in the world, because Vegas you got a lot of things, like Chris Brown concert next weekend.
Yeah.
So like you can, just bring kids in and like tell them we got stuff going on every weekend.
Ray, you're going to be at that Chris Brown concert, right?
Probably won't be.
You're not?
Ray!
I don't have tickets.
Tell us what you think about the marketing. I mean, we got so much. Look, we got Ed Bernstein injury lawyer Muggs right here on the desk. I mean,
marketing everywhere.
That's some great marketing right there.
I've
But
been
tell
the
us.
one person that has repeatedly said that UNLV's got the best facilities, the best stadium, and the best situation in the Mountain West, if not the West. That every UNLV coach is the best opportunity to bring players here to town than any other coach in the history of the program, that was recruiting to Sam Boyd Stadium on Russell Road and the Lead Athletic Complex that was built when I was a kid. And look at my gray hair, Chuck. More important.
It's salt and pepper. It's not
Salt
gray.
and pepper.
It's salt and pepper. It's beautiful.
More important and most important, which y'all didn't mention, forget about NIL. UNLV has something that all those Power 5 schools don't have, Power 4 schools don't have. They have roster spots that play football games available. So if you get a kid like Jackson Woodard who couldn't crack the field at Arkansas consistently, or whomever else that couldn't crack the field in the SEC, and they think they're good enough to go to the NFL, well, you give them 30 or 40 or 50 grand. They come to UNLV, they start at middle linebacker, and all of a sudden you're beating Reno by a running clock, which I really like.
See, it's all good stuff. I mean, even Chuck, you were saying, during the break when we were in commercial, you even have a Panini card. You have a Panini card that you can go get on eBay, and it's special stuff. I have a Panini press at home, so nothing like a Panini card. Just Nanelle, our floor director, she laughed at that. Okay, up next, we're looking ahead. The panel has predictions for UNLV versus Miami of Ohio. Welcome back to Sin City Beat. Mike Davis here. So after a bye week, the Rebels head out on the road to play Miami of Ohio. The Red Hawks are winless at 0-2. The line, we don't know yet. But Ray, what's your prediction for the game this Saturday?
I would say that nothing is easy for UNLV. They get a dub, but it's going to come down to the fourth quarter again. And maybe we say 28-24 Rebels.
Okay, there you go. Paloma, you have any predictions for this weekend?
I talked to the football team this morning, and they feel really confident on both sides of the ball, but I think I agree with Ray. It comes down to the fourth quarter. It comes down to their defense, getting off the field on third downs, not letting 50-yard scores on fourth down. So it just comes down to UNLV really playing lights out, putting an entire four quarters together. I don't think we've seen that yet this season. Dominating, like you've said, all 4 quarters. So I'm going to take UNLV, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, playing all 4 quarters of football is a big thing. Before I get your prediction, Chuck, coming off a bye week, what is that like? Take us in the mind of a player. Is it hard to get back in the groove of things when you have a bye week, or is that really helpful to get some time away? You're not taking any hits. You get a little rest. Tell us what you think.
My last bye week was pleasant. It was a week of not getting hit anymore. So yes, most definitely. It's more of just to lock in that game week. All right, now we're playing somebody. So you get the extra time, you get to study your opponent, but then once you get in that game week, you got to get back, going where you were against UCLA. Like, let's go back and let's have that same energy we had when we were about to play UCLA. Because if we go in here thinking we're playing Idaho State, we'll be in a dogfight that we don't want to be in.
Okay, and what's your prediction?
I say 27-17. Like Ray said, the road's never been nice to UNLV. There's always, something going on.
Okay, those Red Hawks, we'll see what happens. We have 3 people on the panel, all in favor of a big win. I'm going to join them in unison. We're going to have a big win for the Rebels. Any last words, Ray? I want you to have the last word here.
I just want to go get that Charles William Panini
I
autograph
agree.
Make
card.
sure go on eBay.
I was a little shocked that the shipping was $1.11, but
It's a nice signature. Go look it up. Chuck Wagon, Charles Williams card, Panini. You got the Chuck signature. It's perfect. And then after
We need
can
the
all
hoodies.
take a family Sin
need the
City
shirts.
road trip to Costco and get some samples. I'm going to do that with you.
Yes.
Good.
We'll rush around the aisles. We'll do the signature Kirkland special. We'll do it all together. Guys, thank you so much. Go Rebs. Thanks to Chuck. Thanks to Ray. Thanks to Paloma. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat. We appreciate you joining us.